So today, Nintendo dropped the first episode of Indie World, a new spin on the Indie Showcase or Nindy Directs. Basically, it seems like Nintendo they can't decide on a name or a presentation style for these looks at upcoming indie games that are on their way to the Switch. Let's actually start there. The format of this show, no humans were present at all at any point, I don't think. They just had voiceovers accompanied by these like simple animations that they did during transitions and introductions for each new game. Personally, yeah, it was simple, there wasn't much to it, but I liked it. I liked it a lot. As you know, I always say with these types of presentations, I just want to see the damn games. I don't need a bunch of awkward scripted interactions drawing the runtime to like over an hour, right? Just hit us with the games fast and furiously, and I'd say in that department, Indie World is possibly the best. Only a few seconds to breathe were given to us between trailers, and that's how I want it to be. Definitely let me know your thoughts on the presentation format in the comments. I'll be curious to know what people say about it. In terms of the actual games that were shown, as usual, there was a lot here that I really liked that I'm interested in. We didn't see much in terms of gameplay for it, but this Roke game, I think that might be how you pronounce it, looked really interesting, as it was said the players will traverse through this fairy tale forest and encounter various mythical looking animals and try to befriend them or avoid them entirely. Seems like it could be really interesting. Again, we didn't really see much of like how you interact with the animals and stuff, but art style on that looked cool. Europa intrigued me a bit as well. You control this little marshmallow-looking guy and explore these gravity-shifting environments. It's a puzzle platformer. You spray paint the character different colors. It even seems like you can customize them a bit. They show them putting like eyes and a mouth on them. I don't know if that was like a scripted instance or something you actually do, but that could be kind of cool. And you will also tag the environment with paint as well as modify it in general to progress. This looks like it's going to be more of kind of a chill, fun game, you know, nothing too stressful, and I could always use a little bit of that. A new Dungeon Defenders was also announced, Dungeon Defenders Awakened. If you're not familiar with this series, it's sort of a tower defense type game. You get these waves of enemies sent at you, and you have to defend the area and not let them through. You know, you build the standard like traps, barricades, and that, but you also control an actual character, and you get in there and fight the enemy forces yourself. This newest entry, and this is interesting, for one, surprisingly, it's going to offer 4-player couch co-op on the Nintendo Switch, something we don't see with a lot of games, especially that look kind of more demanding. But it will also be a timed exclusive to Nintendo Switch. That's going to be interesting to see the comparison, I think, between sales specifically, because rarely is it that we see, you know, a timed exclusive thing on the Switch. Usually it's on other platforms, and so often recently, especially with indie games, we see the Switch sales eclipsing, you know, oftentimes the Xbox, the PS4, even the Xbox and the PS4 combined in some instances. So with this game actually giving the head start to the Switch, I'll be really interested to see how it performs on Switch compared to other platforms when it does make its way to them. And then there was my favorite new game, I'll say, of the presentation. Shinnen's new title, The Tourist, has this sort of Lego slash Minecrafty type vibe. Looks to be a puzzle-solving adventure game. We see the character doing a variety of activities like scuba diving, dungeon crawling. He even heads into an arcade on this really cool-looking city to play some games, kind of like you'd see in like a Yakuza game or something. I just thought the overall aesthetic of this title looked fantastic. The music in the trailer was great, so if that's an indication of what the music's going to be like, it's probably going to be top-notch. And if there is as much going on here as it seems to be from the trailer, this one's, it's definitely going to be something. One to watch for sure, in my opinion. There were also several what I would consider to be bigger indie games announced to be coming to the Switch. It seems like, as I've said in, several of my recent videos, more and more companies are starting to see that sweet Switch money to be made, and, they just can't resist it any longer. Gearbox revealed that their survival game Risk of Rain 2 is coming over to the Switch. Super hot. I don't know how to describe it really. This Matrix feeling first-person shooter. If you haven't played it, it's like the enemies in the game only move when you move. So you can like spin around and look at things and get a good lay of the land and inch your way through it. And then you see everything play out like in real time, and it looks like you just, Matrix owned everybody. It's really cool. That got a stealth drop for today. Hotline Miami, the Hotline Miami collection with both games, also got a stealth release for today. So yeah, like I said, it seems like with a lot of these more prominent indies, they really want to get in on that Switch action. And of course, there was this little small title that I'm sure none of you have ever heard of, called Ori and the Blind Forest. Yes, the previously Microsoft exclusive, after tons of rumors, supposed leaks and that, is in fact coming to the Nintendo Switch. This is a big get for the Switch audience, for one. I love this game. One of the best Metroidvanias you can play in my opinion. Yes, people, it is right up there with the likes of Hollow Knight, so definitely if you played and loved Hollow Knight, you'll for sure want to check this out as well. And I'll say hopefully that means the next game, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, is also going to be coming to Nintendo Switch. They didn't say anything about that, but I would assume, now that this game is coming, why wouldn't you, have the next game launch? Maybe not, day and day with like Xbox and PC, but, even down the road, I think that would be fantastic. But this also adds to this budding relationship that we've talked about between Nintendo and Microsoft. We also got Cuphead not too long ago. Banjo and Kazooie, don't forget, are headed into Smash. These are all things that, even just a year ago, most people would have said will never happen. So I'm even more curious to see what ends up being next for the pair. Because if you remember, back before Cuphead was even confirmed for Switch, there was this supposed leak going around. I think it may have started with that French website, I forget the name, but they said Microsoft was bringing games to the Switch, and that would start with Cuphead and Ori and the Blind Forest, two games that have since been confirmed. And they said those would be followed by possibly Xbox Game Pass and something more substantial like a AAA game. And if Microsoft does end up putting just, more games on the Switch in general, which now I think is pretty much certain. I just assume now we'll see more Microsoft published games coming over. And with that being the case, I could totally see Game Pass coming over as well. Not necessarily, like, oh, the whole catalog, every game's gonna be there. No, not like that. But, allowing people who are subscribed to the service to play the games included in it on the Switch if the game is already coming over or is on the system. So like an Ori and the Blind Forest, for instance, right? It's going to be on Switch, we know it's confirmed now, and it is included currently in the Xbox Game Pass. So I think we could very well see players being able to, log into Game Pass on Switch and play the game on there without needing to purchase it again, which would bring even more value to what I think is already a pretty solid subscription service. And I think it makes a lot of sense with the whole Play Anywhere deal Microsoft is headed in, where they want players to easily play their games whenever, wherever they want. And as someone who is always pro-consumer, I don't see how you could have a problem with that, even though so many people do. And of course, if that's true, it would lend credence to the idea that we are getting some bigger stuff down the line. And I don't want to feed too much into that sort of speculation yet, but I can't help but say, I said it when this stuff started coming out previously, the Master Chief Collection would be so insane to see on the Switch. I think it could totally work, as, all the games in the collection originally ran on the Xbox 360, don't forget. And if you want a single title brought over that would make a major game-changing impact on the industry, I think the Master Chief Collection coming to Switch would be that title. But that's all I'm going to say on the Microsoft-Nintendo partnership for now, as with that, this video's a wrap. So let me know your thoughts on this Indie World presentation in the comments. Which games were the highlights for you? What did you think of the format? And where do you think the relationship between Microsoft and Nintendo is headed? Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this discussion of Nintendo's Indie World presentation. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. And if you want to keep the conversation going, hit me up on Twitter @JohnnyZakari. And join my Discord, ChiGuy and Friends. Link to both in the description below. And as always, Thanks for watching.